Whoa, it's a beautiful day to do these reactions, man. Listen, like it before you light it. Hit the sub before you hit the bud. Join the team before you hit the green. Y'all know what's going on with Trump and Iran, right? The war, right? Different opinions here and there. People saying it's because of this. People saying it's because of that. It's a distraction because of the Epstein files. It's a way to cut off the supply chain to China because China is one of the biggest buyers of oil from Iran. There's a million different reasons why people think we're at war. But I just want to kind of watch some videos about what's going on with this. This video might get a little long, guys. I'm warning y'all right now. Let's get into it.
Today, the United States military continues to carry out large-scale combat operations in Iran. Our objectives are clear. First, we're destroying Iran's missile capabilities, and you see that happening on an hourly basis, and their capacity to produce brand new ones and pretty good ones they make.
Is that really what's going on?
And we have, right from the beginning, we projected 4 to 5 weeks, but we have capability to go far longer than that. We'll do it. Whatever somebody said today, they said, oh, well, if the president wants to do it really quickly. After that, he'll get bored. I don't get bored. There's nothing boring about this.
Ain't that something, bro? Because you know why you not bored about it, bro? Is because it ain't none of your people dying. You don't give a shit about them people, bro. Let's be real. I'm not a fan of war because I know that a lot of black people are in the military. And that means that a lot of black people are putting their lives on the line for some old rich white people like Donald Trump. And I don't think that's a good thing to do. I wouldn't sign up for that shit. I'm sorry. I would not want to die for any of these rich politicians who are mostly non-black who don't give a fuck about me, bro. And that's the God honest truth. I don't give a fuck who I piss off with that. Straight up. I'm calling a spade, bro.
Got off the phone with President Trump. It was
all right. So this guy says he just got off a 9-minute conversation with Trump. And this is what he had to say.
A roughly 9-minute phone interview talking about the war in Iran. Just want to give you the quotes. He said, quote, "We're knocking the crap out of them. I think it's going very well. It's very powerful. We've got the greatest military in the world, and we're using it." I asked the president how long he thought this war might last. He said, "I don't want to see it go on too long. I always thought it would be 4 weeks, and we're a little ahead of schedule." I asked him if the U.S. was doing more to help the Iranian people reclaim their country than the military strikes, if there was other stuff going on. He said, "Yes, we are indeed, but right now we want everyone staying inside. It's not safe out there." He also suggested it was about to get even less safe. "We haven't even started hitting them hard. The big wave hasn't even happened. The big one is coming soon." I asked the president about the fact that Iran attacked Arab countries in the region, Bahrain, Jordan, Kuwait, Qatar, and the UAE. He said that was the biggest surprise so far for him and his team. Quote, "We were surprised. We told them," meaning the Arab countries, "we've got this." And now they want to fight, and they're aggressively fighting. They were going to be very little involved, and now they insist on being involved. He said of the Arab leaders of those countries, "I know these people, they're tough and smart." The Iranians, he said, quote, "shot into a hotel. They shot into an apartment house. It just made them," meaning the Arab leaders, "angry. They love us, but they were watching. There was no reason for them to be involved." That was probably the biggest surprise. You have to understand they were living under that dark cloud for years, meaning the Iranian nuclear threat. That's why you could never have peace.
It's crazy how they've been having a nuclear threat for like forever now, bro. That's crazy, bro. But they never confirm what these nuclear capabilities are. They never can pinpoint it. It's always they may have it. We got to stop them from using it.
I asked, okay, well, who's going to lead Iran now? The president said, "We don't know who the leadership is. We don't know who they'll pick. Maybe they'll get lucky and get someone who knows what they're doing." The Iranians, he said, lost a lot in terms of leadership because in the initial strikes, not only was Ayatollah Khamenei killed, but also 49 other Iranian leaders, he said. It was an amazing strike. They got a little bit arrogant by meeting all in one place. They thought they were undetectable. They weren't undetectable. We were shocked by it. They don't even know who's leading them now. We went down 49, he said, meaning 49 leaders on the leadership chart there. We don't know who's leading the country now. They don't know who's leading. It's a little like the unemployment line.
Damn.
The president said that they tried to make a deal with the Iranians, but we couldn't make a deal with these people. He said every offer was met with a walk back of a previous offer. They had all that enriched stuff, he said, referring to uranium. They looked at redoing it there. This is after the strikes last June. But it was in such bad shape, the mountain had basically collapsed. The president said, "This is the way to deal with Iran. We don't have to worry about agreements." He talked about all of the years, decades of killing and IEDs and all the destruction that Iran has wreaked on the United States and other countries. He said people in the military walking around with no legs, walking around with no arms, their faces shattered. He said that today's military operation was of a piece, part of a larger campaign. We took out Soleimani last time. That's referring to the Iranian general Qassem Soleimani. He was an unbelievably violent, vicious general. Hitting him, he said, was a big move. If that didn't happen, then you might not have Israel today. Israel might not exist. Then he referred to
Israel
Midnight
might
Hammer.
not exist. Oh my God, my heart goes out. The fuck? Y'all about to die for Israel. That is crazy work, bro. I'm just saying, dog. That
Strike against the Iranian nuclear facilities last June. They were a month away from having a nuclear weapon. He criticized Obama's nuclear deal with Iran. He said it gave all the power to Iran. They would have had a nuclear weapon 3 or 4 years ago. They would have used it against Israel. They maybe would have used it against us. In the latest talks, he said the Iranians, quote, weren't willing to give us what we asked for. They should have done it. So it's going good, the president said before.
y'all get the gist. Everything is perfect. Nothing is going wrong. Everything is going according to plan. They don't never tell us the whole truth, though. Let's be real. Now, remember when I was asking y'all or telling y'all that is why America is at war with Iran, or they're calling it an operation, whatever you want to call it. There's differences of opinions. Let's get into a couple of those, though.
The second question that's been asked is, why now? Well, there's 2 reasons why now. The first is it was abundantly clear that if Iran came under attack by anyone, the United States or Israel or anyone, they were going to respond against the United States. And in fact, it bear to be true, because in fact, within an hour of the initial attack on the leadership compound, the missile forces in the south and in the north, for that matter, had already been activated to launch. In fact, those had already been pre-positioned. The third is the assessment that was made that if we stood and waited for that attack to come first before we hit them, we would suffer much higher casualties.
Quick side note, at least once a day, I get a comment or an email asking, how do I do this YouTube thing? How do I make reaction videos? If you're interested in making money on YouTube and not just arguing in the comment sections, I run a private YouTube growth group. We do weekly calls, live channel audits, and you get to see how other creators are making money, plus how I got this channel to where it's at 37,000 today when it only had 3,000 in October, and how I plan on making this channel go to 100K before the end of the year. Link in the description.
And so the president made the very wise decision. We knew that there was going to be an Israeli action. We knew that that would precipitate an attack against American forces. And we knew that if we didn't preemptively go after them before they launched those attacks, we would suffer higher casualties and perhaps even higher those killed. And then we would all be here answering questions about why we knew that and didn't act. Going back.
So, in other words, they in the comment section, that is, they saying some shit that I was thinking to myself, but I'm gonna read them out to y'all, right? So you had to attack Iran because if you attacked Iran, it would have attacked back. That's what it sounds like. He's literally saying the quiet part out loud. He's saying that Iran would attack the U.S. after Israel's attack, so the U.S. was essentially forced by Israel to join their conflict. Admitting this makes Trump look even weaker than he already did. Another person said, so America and Israel attacked Iran because if Iran had been attacked by America and Israel, they would have retaliated against America and Israel. So America and Israel had to attack. It's not that difficult to understand, people. Boy, that's crazy. All right, that's one. Let's get into another one.
How is attacking Iran America first? Let me explain. Liberals keep saying, I thought Trump was going to be America first and no more wars. Well, that's exactly what it is. It's America first. First of all, this is not a war. It's an operation. An operation that needed to happen. You see, last year, President Trump sent Marco Rubio to Panama to make sure that China did not take over the Panama Canal, because that's what? One of our most critical shipping trade routes. So Marco Rubio went to Panama and secured the Panama Canal to make sure that the U.S. had control of the Panama Canal. A little time after that, Russia has shown interest in Greenland, because why? Well, Greenland is also a major trade route for ships. And so what are we doing right now? Ensuring that we, as America, have control of that trade route.
Money.
Why? Because it protects our domestic shipping. That's right. Now, China has been known to want to take over Taiwan. Taiwan is a big, big thing for China. However, it's also a very big thing for us. We get a lot of our semiconductors and other equipment from Taiwan. So this is how we are America first through taking over Iran. Let me explain now. Russia has been weakened by Ukraine. Iran has been a major player and helper of Russia through financing for weapons, all that stuff. And also, Iran has supplied fuel for China. The only way China can wage war on Taiwan is if they have fuel. China was getting fuel from Venezuela and Iran. We've taken Venezuela, now we're also disabling Iran.
I remember months ago they were saying they didn't take Venezuela. They did it to help the Venezuelan people. And the Venezuelan people are so happy that we're back in control of their oil supplies. It's crazy, dog. I don't know up from down no more.
Not only that, but Iran was very close to obtaining weapons grade uranium in order to make
They
a
always
nuclear
are.
bomb. We don't want a nuclear bomb, especially not in the control of Iran. And this is how Trump.
I remember back in the day when they was talking about the weapons in Iraq, right? Iraq. And they was talking about the nuclear weapon capability and shit. But when you go back and look at it, dog, it's like at the time they didn't show no evidence to us that would suggest that they actually had these capabilities, man. They just told us this so that they can give us a reason to not tell them anything, or backlash, that is, for them to be in the area in the first place. Well, let's tell the people that this is a threat against America. That way, when we go over there, we ain't gonna have no pushback. You know, that's what they saying, bro.
Taking over Iran is America first. It literally prevents World War III. Because the alternative is Iran gets stronger, increases its military power, which in turn strengthens Russia and strengthens China. Now, with Iran having a nuclear power, they are more likely to use it against Israel, our Middle Eastern ally. So if Iran is
You
strong,
mean our landlord, bro? Straight up, man. It feels like Israel really gets more out of our tax dollars than we do, bro. They got the free health care, right? They got everything they need. And whole time over here, niggas ain't got shit, but we paying into them.
if Venezuela would have been left to Maduro, then we would have had China ready and fueled up for their takeover of Taiwan. Iran would be strong enough to fight Israel, and they would be providing fuel for China and empowering Russia to continue their quest against Ukraine. Furthermore, China will continue its quest providing all the ingredients to make fentanyl for the cartels. So that's also a big thing about this, is Trump is literally removing all the American threats or anything that can cause future major problems for the United States. This is how it's America first.
Now, I'm gonna be the first one to admit, I don't know if this is true or not, honestly. And I'm the type of person, if it's true, then it's true. I ain't gonna give you no pushback on it, but I ain't gonna just believe it just because you say it's true. I gotta look into this shit personally. But the comments, Trump playing chess, the left is playing go fish. Trump has liberated Venezuela and Iran in the last 2 months. Each country's people are celebrating in the street. This is a win. Are they really? Are they really? Wow. Dude looks Mexican and he's not tripping about ICE. He's being more American than anyone in Minnesota. Smart guy, a fellow American, and I salute you, brother. Guess the nationality of the person that wrote that comment. Is easy. I ain't even going to give y'all a clue. Y'all can hear by the way he sound that he is one of them. Let's be fucking for real, bro. Yeah, bro, I ain't gonna lie to you though, man. This all sounds reasonable, but is it 100% factual? I don't know. I gotta go and do my Googles. All right, so here's another one.
If you're looking for an origin point of this current war, don't look to the earliest hours of this Saturday. Look back to November 4th, 1979. That was the day Iranian revolutionaries stormed the U.S. Embassy in Tehran, capturing 52 Americans and parading them in blindfolds for the whole world to see.
A new and daring element was disclosed today in the Iran crisis.
For the next 444 days, they were held captive, the tally kept nightly by Walter Cronkite. Finally, the hostages were released, but that wasn't the end of the story. In 1983, 241 U.S. service members were killed in their barracks by an Iran-backed suicide bomber in Beirut.
Oh, wow.
Americans can argue whether this is a war of necessity, but what's clear from the history is that the fuse of this explosion is 50 years long and has included the loss of thousands of American and Iranian lives. Every president since Jimmy Carter has tried to end this conflict. In 2015, President Barack Obama announced a deal to stall Iran's nuclear ambitions, a deal that President Trump replaced with a campaign of maximum pressure and now military might.
Today, the United States military continues to carry out large-scale combat operations in Iran to eliminate the grave threats posed to America by this terrible terrorist regime.
That history is why the president's allies in Congress say he hasn't started a war with Iran. He's finishing one. If you're looking
That's another interesting take. Comments. So we telling the truth all of a sudden. Congratulations. CBS actually reporting unbiased factual news. I'm impressed. Okay, who kidnapped CBS and replaced it with unbiased news? No way. CBS is telling truths. I thought it was Fox at first.
What would happen if the U.S. strikes on Iran?
All right, guys. So listen, y'all got what it is, right? You got a couple of different opinions on why it's happening, what's going on, and all that kind of stuff. Now I kind of want to move into like what people are saying could happen if we do go to war with these people. And I think actually, I want to play a clip from combat veteran first.
Lieutenant Colonel Assad Khan. Lieutenant Colonel Khan was my 1st Battalion commander at 1st Battalion 6 Marines. He was the one leading me and thousands of other Marines into war when we deployed to Afghanistan as Battalion Landing Team 1-6 Special Operations in 2004. My battalion flew into Kandahar Airfield and then pushed north into the Oruzgan province in Afghanistan. We were the first American unit to push that far north. We were tasked with establishing forward operating bases and conducting combat missions to seek out and engage the enemy. And again, we were the first Americans to push into this part of Afghanistan. We were there for months, and we were in firefights almost daily. And while a lot of Marines were injured in these firefights, we only lost one, Corporal Ronald Payne. When we returned to the States, we met up with our families, and my dad told me of a conversation that he had with Lieutenant Colonel Khan while they waited for us to turn weapons and gear back in. According to my dad, Lieutenant Colonel Khan was on the verge of tears because he felt like a failure because he wasn't able to bring everyone home. Thousands of Marines were led back home by this man, but Corporal Payne didn't get back home, and that meant that he had failed his Marines and himself. So when I hear the Filet-O-Fish in chief say this,
The lives of courageous American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties. That often happens in war.
the callousness that this walking syphilis virus shows to the lives of the people he is sending to their deaths makes me so fucking angry, because he doesn't care who dies in his ego war, just so long as he gets to fucking wage it.
Well, there's another opinion, right? Veteran, right? Everybody in the military don't rock with Trump, and everybody who isn't in the military isn't a hater of Trump. But what I'm saying is I want to show y'all both sides, man, because everybody not a fan and everybody doesn't hate him. I just want to give y'all a balanced, viewpoint of what's going on. Now, let's move into what could possibly happen throughout this conflict.
What would happen if the U.S. strikes on Iran right now? Within minutes, U.S. forces most likely from the Persian Gulf or a nearby carrier group would target Iran's underground launch facilities. If the strike destroys active missiles, Iran calls it an act of war. Tehran's first response? Ballistic missiles at U.S. bases in Iraq, Kuwait, or the Gulf. America activates rapid retaliation protocols. Fighter jets scramble. Missile defense systems light up across the region. Oil markets spike instantly. Global shipping through the Strait of Hormuz could shut down within an hour. NATO and Israel prepare for possible involvement. Meanwhile, China and Russia demand the U.S. to stand down, raising global tension. Would this chain reaction end in a quick U.S. victory or the start of a regional war no one can control? Drop your comment below and
Newsflash has already started, my guy.
Earlier today, Trump said that he wouldn't rule out a ground invasion of Iran. Not only does it feel like he hates the troops, it feels like he wants to be the most unpopular president of all time. Have you ever looked at the topography of Iran? Let me help you.
Look like the moon.
All of that red are mountains. Iran is quite literally built like a fortress. A ground invasion of Iran would decimate the US military. They have mountains that they can hide in. Tunnels. All that good shit. It's the same reason why the United States wasn't truly able to ever defeat the Taliban in Afghanistan, because they have the same problem where they have mountains everywhere that they can hide in. 20 years in Afghanistan, we left because it was a losing battle. What happened like 6 months afterwards? Taliban took over like nothing happened. Oh, in that country, wouldn't dream of a ground invasion. That's why they're making the US do it.
All right. So, all right. This one here, they go into detail about what would happen, what basically can happen.
This is the area. In military terms, if this turns into a war, it would be called a theater. And what we've done is we've presented you with the basic geography so you could see where Iran is, and you could see all the Gulf states. All those little points you see with the American flags in circles, that right there, my friends, are U.S. military installations, U.S. military bases. And as you can see, they are all over the place. Let's start with a smaller map, just so you can see the Gulf area, because that's where most of this area is, most of the action will be. And there it is right now. Okay, there it is. All right, Stas, let's get started with this. We understand that the missiles last time there was this type of 12-day war, as they call it, came from an area right here. It's called Shiraz. It's just a little village. It's a valley surrounded by mountains. See that point right there?
Yep.
Now, that is 500 kilometers. So they have missiles, we know, that go 500 kilometers and beyond that. But let's start with 500 kilometers. Let's talk about the impact that Iran could have shooting those missiles just from 500 kilometers.
Now, Iran's got three types of missiles that we're looking at. They've got cruise missiles, they've got ballistic missiles, and they've got hypersonic missiles. Well, they have one type of hypersonic missile. Now, the cruise missiles are mostly in the 250 to 500 range.
Right within that circle.
Right within it. Of course, they could be firing from the edge. I mean, all of this area, what most people don't understand, this is all mountains. Mountains.
And what he just said is, y'all, they could be firing from the edge. So if the center is, dog, y'all understand what that means? That if they fire from the edge, this whole circumference gets extended outward so they can send shit even further, which is basically another 500 kilometers. If they were shooting from the edge, man, that is wild, bro.
Valleys, forests, caves, natural cave systems all over the place, artificial caves and bases built into these mountains. This whole area is redoubt out. So they could be firing from any of these directions.
So when you say redoubt out, that means they're hidden.
They're hidden. They've got underground bases. They've got some of these areas that literally have elevators that can pop up a missile launcher, shoot off the missiles, and lower it back down.
Trump will tell you, yeah, but we could take those out like within 5 minutes. True or false?
You could if you knew where they were at, and you could get your air assets into place to do it. Technically, you could. How many of them? How well hidden they are? We don't know. That's a state secret.
That's interesting that you would say that, because it's not only, let's say, this 500 kilometer. Let's go to 1,000 kilometers if we could, so I can show them the next area that we're talking about. Okay, now we're at 1,000 kilometers. Right. Tell us about the distinction or the difference between those two.
No, first of all, just to add on to what I was saying before that, just to understand how difficult it is to find a launcher. Desert Storm, U.S. had full air dominance. Iraq's right there, open, flat desert. Not a single Scud launcher was ever destroyed.
Wow.
They couldn't find them.
Really?
The Air Force couldn't find them.
Is that? I just flew over Iran the other day.
Yeah.
When you look down from that plane, it looks like Mars.
It is.
It's just all you see is desert and hills and mountains, and it's like, who the hell could find anything in there?
Exactly. That's the whole point. So when they say we could find anything we want, they're lying. They're absolutely lying.
Let's go to 1,000. There it is right now, going all the way to Saudi Arabia and Iraq. What would be the impact?
Now, first of all these bases combined, there used to be 56,000 troops on there. They've lowered that down to about 26,000. So they evacuated 30,000 troops. But there's 30,000 troops, American troops. That's Air Force, Army, Navy, on these bases that are in striking range. And when you're talking 500
That's
kilometers.
U.S. fighting men and women.
That's right, U.S. fighting men.
Give me that number again.
Right now, 26,000.
26,000.
That's not counting Iraq and Syria. Now,
we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
So they're all within striking range. They're not very far. They can run from that.
What about, we keep hearing about submarines and aircraft carriers. I think the Abraham Lincoln is over here. Right.
Well, it's actually further down here out in the Indian.
But it's in these waters here.
Right.
That would come into play later.
That would.
And I think I have something that I want to show you. Have we got the video of the military exercises? I wanted you to see this because Iran has just put out videos of military exercises that they're doing to show what they have the capability of doing in those waters that we were just showing in the bottom of the map, which is actually on the floor. Right. Well, this is what they say they can do. I've got two videos I'm going to show you here. This is
and the crazy part about this, dog, is that I know so many people who are in the Navy and they literally be on these boats, these carrier ships and things of that nature, dog. Most of y'all probably got somebody in your family or a friend of the family that's in the Navy, dog. If they're on these boats right now, nigga, they ain't safe, bro.
First one.
I know people, my bad. I know people who literally like, dog, I want to get out the military now. I was jokingly telling somebody I know, he said, I'm trying to figure out how to get out this thing right now. I told that boy to go get pregnant. I was joking, obviously, but dog, people ain't excited about this, no.
And hang tight, because there's another one coming after this. I want to show you both of these, and then we can comment on them. This next one is them resolutely showing what they can do to take out potentially an aircraft carrier, which their supreme leader has been talking about. What are we seeing in this video? What can we learn or glean from it?
Well, right now what we're seeing is missile gunboats. So this is something that you would use not relatively far out to sea, but in the closer waters, like the Persian Gulf or near waters in the Indian Ocean.
They have missiles?
Of course. That's the number one striking capabilities. They have missiles. They have ship-to-ship missiles. Then you have the problem with the land-bound missiles that they can shoot out.
Right.
Now, here's the kicker.
Okay.
The hypersonic missiles they have, 2,000-kilometer range.
Shit.
Here's the kicker. If you bring in an aircraft carrier...
what I was about to say is, dog, that's basically 900 miles, 1,000 miles, whatever you want to call it. That is like the distance from where I'm at in New Orleans to probably somewhere in Illinois, maybe Chicago or some shit. That's a far distance, dog. Imagine having that capability of missile that can go from New Orleans to Chicago. That's what they got. Crazy work, bro.
Within strike range for the F-18s, F-16s, you're looking at about 1,000-kilometer range before the planes have to be refueled. The refuelers have to come from Cyprus or Israel or these other areas, because these bases right here, they're going to get hit. So you're not going to lift refuelers off from there.
Did you see that one shot on that ship? I think they probably put that video out, and that comes in from their news agency, to show what they think they could do to U.S. ships out at sea. Could they really do that?
If they're close enough in, yes. If they're for the aircraft carrier like Lincoln, they would use the hypersonic missiles. Now, here's
I have that for you. I don't mean to interrupt.
No problem.
Since we have the video, let's show it. Let's see the video of the hypersonic. This is they call this the Fatah 1.
Right.
Here it is. There's a Fatah 1 and a Fatah 2, by the way.
What you're looking at, the head is the hypersonic section. The rest is a ballistic missile. So the ballistic missile gets it started, gets it going, and then the glide vehicle, which is the front third, it separates out and accelerates to Mach 13, which is, by the way, what the Areshik accelerates to. It's maneuverable.
So, in other words, that shit the same size as a Toyota Corolla. Damn, bro.
And here's the problem that most U.S. planners don't want to admit to. If they're just looking for an aircraft carrier out there with just Iranian assets, it's going to be pretty hard to find. It gets out there in a big ocean. How many satellites overhead? You got over 150 Russian satellites. You got over 300 Chinese satellites. And the Chinese have just deployed Baodu, their super radar system.
I read about that last night.
And it can
detect submarines.
Exactly.
Under the water.
Exactly. They've got a boat out there that's doing intelligence gathering. They can detect the submarines. But here's the thing. This is a synthesis of technologies. Because you've got Russia's deployed the S-300 and the S-400. The S-400 can run everything on its own in a smaller section. Fighter planes, bombers, other launch systems, the control point. It can track the 72 targets, service 24 of those targets at a time. By service, I mean try to destroy them. Destroy them. But if you combine that, these two systems are separate. Right now what we're seeing is these two systems are being integrated. The Chinese radar system and the Russian air defense systems are being integrated into one unit.
That's a big deal.
It is.
Because you said that, I've got another video I want to show you. military exercises taking place in the next couple of days. And the Russians, there's a Russian ship. See that right there?
Yep.
At 545, that's a Russian ship. It's just come in, and they're going to be joining forces with the Chinese military and the Iranian military just to do military exercises in that region.
Cooked.
I guess I have two questions for you. What's the significance of this? And
What
what's
you
the
mean?
message
We
you're trying
getting
to say?
jumped. That's
Russia,
what that
China, and
means.
Iran have a pact. So you're watching alliances form in real time. This is a direct threat to the U.S. Don't do it.
This is the
Yeah, we getting cooked, bro. It is what it is, man. Yeah, man. Comments, bro. WW3 presented like it's the NFL. No more war on behalf of Israel. Look, I second that. Stop attacking sovereign nations at Israel's behalf. Iran has the right to defend itself. Free America from Israel and AIPAC. The United States is run by maniacs. World peace equals no Israel. Remove the chosen people and 99.9% of the conflicts in the world vanish. Ooh-wee. Listen, there's another video I want to show y'all though, man. There's another one. Then we're going to get up out of here. All right, y'all. So Chinese vessel in Strait of Hormuz showing GOS disruption. Watch this shit.
看看美伊打仗，我们船上的时钟都被干扰了。看看这时间走得多快。
But look, the Chinese one is
现在
good.
停航船速已经跑到33万 ，GPS 信号已经乱了。
Chinese GPS is working, but non-Chinese GPS.
That was crazy. I saw that, right? A Chinese vessel in the Strait of Hormuz uploaded a video showing that their clock was just running too fast. The GPS, all parts of their system were fucked up. They cannot navigate. But their own Chinese GPS system is not affected. Only the Western European GPS. That is crazy. I didn't know Iran had this kind of technology.
Let's see what the comments saying. All right. I like that Iran strike UAE. Now they can't send any support for the RSF in Sudan to genocide our people. That's kind of crazy right there. The U.S. shut down GPS in area. Iran was already using China's GPS system in case that happened. That's why they're hitting targets so well. It's called Beidou navigation satellite system. That is, there are different satellite networks: GPS, GLONASS, Jaleo. Man, I didn't even know that, y'all. I bet a lot of you military people did, but I didn't know that there's multiple GPS systems. OMO, in my opinion, I'm watching chess live. Dog, this is getting scary. It's developing quick, dog. But listen, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Y'all stay safe. If y'all got any family members in the military, especially the Navy and the Air Force and things of that nature, man, prayers with them and everything like that. If you got some spare likes, I need them like a crackhead need a pipe. Holla at your boy.